So, Kamal, the story of your life is really interesting. I know it because I'm your friend for like over 15 years. But, I feel like people who has watched your podcast might be wondering, who is this guy? Like, what is he doing in Poland? Because, to be honest, Poland might not be the best place in the world. I mean, it is, but we know it. Polish people, we know it. But, from outsiders, it might seem a little bit like exotic for someone like you coming from North Africa, from Muslim country. Because, Poland may be not the most welcoming country. But what I wanted to ask you is really, what is your story? Who are you? Who is Kamal Jahid?
Wow, that's an incredible introduction, and it hits many points because you mentioned the word exotic.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I was thinking about it back in 2008 when I just wanted to get out of Morocco because a lot of things happened. And the first thing that came to my mind is I did not want to go to France or to Spain or to England because that's a very popular destination for, Moroccans because of the language. It's easy to, just go to France and study or work.
You speak French, you speak Arabic, exactly. You speak English.
Yeah.
So the first
I didn't speak English that time. We're gonna talk about it. So when I finished my studies, I just wanted to get out, like I said. I felt I needed a new challenge. But I just didn't want to go to France for some reason. I love French people.
Yeah.
All my friends are French, but I just needed something.
You were like 20 at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Super young, super hungry of life, with big dreams. What was your main motivator to leave Morocco and go further?
So the story begins like this. When I finished my studies, so 1 month before, I met these students. They were from Poland. They were, they were like the organization or association called ISEC. It was for students. They do exchanges. And I met these Polish students. They are like just chilling. And I was with my friends in this cafe. And my friends, they were just like, I love them. But they were just like boring, like just the same shit. Girls, and I'm like, man, and then I overhear this conversation in English, and I turn and I see this international group of people, and I just something attracted me and drawn me, and I just went there, and I'm like, hey guys, you guys look like you're having so much fun. What's going on? Who are you? And they're like, oh yeah, we're from Poland, and there was many other nationalities as well.
What was your first thought about Poland when you heard the word Poland?
I didn't know what it was, to be honest.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm not going to lie.
To remind you, North Africa is not really Poland focused, okay?
I was like, Poland, my mind was like, I definitely knew it was Eastern Europe, for sure. But I couldn't locate it in my mind, like, okay, this is Poland, next to Germany or... And I said, all right, can I have more information about this organization? They're like, sure, here is it. Okay, perfect. And that's it. And I continue to live my life in the most normal possible way. Did the exams. My girlfriend at that time, she broke my heart. And I'm like, it got my... It was incredible. Yeah, she did. And
So you were 20 at the time, just graduating studies, university. So probably your parents, the society was expecting you to get married, have kids, but then your heart was broken. What happened?
Well, this was actually the catalyst of change because I remember I loved this girl with all my heart, but I was doing all the wrong things at the same time. When I look at them now, and I was like, I was the nicest human being, to her. And I was just like too nice, to be honest.
Okay. You feel like being too nice for a girl is not really
definitely. We're gonna. Yeah.
I'll argue with this.
I mean, definitely, but that's like another topic.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, actually, by the way, the book, because I read that time, a book is called it's Glover, the author. It's an incredible book, like Stop Being Mr. Nice or something like that. I highly recommend it. So when I was reading it, it just like resonated with me because the problem is when you're too nice, people mistake it for like weakness,
Yeah.
you know.
So
And
kindness is a weakness. For some.
it is not. It is absolutely not weakness. But some people mistake it for weakness. And I mean, we jumped here to the waters, but I believe like women, they obviously look for a stable, strong man that will make them feel safe and secure. But when you are too nice, they think that any other man or any threat can just come and walk over you. Problem with being too nice and too kind is that it seems fake, you know, because you are like, she sees this popular, let's say, guy, and it's like, why is he nice? There's something weird is hidden. And that's true. There's a lot of insecurities that were hidden, and we're going to talk about it. And long story short, heartbroken, I got my bachelor, and I'm just like bored. And and then it hit me. I went to this website. I say, okay, Google, then okay, apply for, internship, okay. And then I got the list, and I see, like these popular destinations, France, and like there's millions of applications, people waiting. I'm like, man, they're never gonna pick me up. And then I'm like scrolling, and then I see Poland, nobody applying. And then I apply, and like 3 or 4 days later, they're like, yo, we're interested. We have this position for you. Yeah. It's actually in Orlen, which is in the humongous company.
Yeah, it's Polish
the oil
and
company.
gas company. Yeah.
And they had this EU project, and they needed some people from like a different part of the world. So I was the African representative. We had like some people from Asia, from Brazil, from China, from Ukraine. And it was an incredible project. So I arrived here. I landed in Warsaw, and I immediately knew that I'm going to live here.
You're going to live here?
I just knew. It was a feeling that I couldn't explain at that time. It was so intense. And
Okay.
they say, okay, actually, we're not going to be here. We have to go to Płock. I was like, what's this Płock? And I remember waiting for the bus. It was like a 1.5 hour drive. And as I see, the bus driving away from the city and the skyline disappearing in the horizon, I'm like, where are they taking me, man? And then we arrived to Płock, and I was like in a complete shock. I was like, well, this is not what I signed up for. Little did I know, I had the best time of my life in Płock. I met some incredible people. They were not even speaking English at that time, and I was not speaking English at the time. But we were able to communicate and talk, and it was incredible. I remember this guy, Norbert. He wanted to learn English, and he came to us. He's like, man, I'll protect you. I will bring you the food, pierogies, and everything from my mom, but I have to practice English with you guys, and I'm going to come every day. I was like, yeah, and he became our Polish brother, and, he was like, protecting us. I mean, we didn't have any problems at the time. Yeah. And we're talking about 2008.
So back in 2008, Poland was a totally different country. Warsaw was different. But from what you have said, it really stirs me that you've noticed that we are this country of perspective, that we are very welcoming at some point. And the third thing is like, you were so bold, like you were so freaking like adventurous, because it is the hardest part in your life to take a risk, to leave something that you know so well and just go and explore the wild. Let's say the wild. So haven't you been lonely a little bit?
Slowly, maybe not. Scared? No. You know what? When someone asks this famous question like, oh, if you had to go back in time, what would you tell to your younger self? I wouldn't tell him anything. I would just say, man, I'm proud of you because you have massive balls. Because what I did is, because when I think about it, I don't think I have this in me now to just say, you know what, I'm just going to go to this completely random country. I knew no one. It's just like...
Yeah, risk it all.
But talking about loneliness, it was also the catalyst of this, let's say...
Kamal 2.0.
Exactly. You know why? Because I forced myself to go talk to people, to make new friends. Because I came here, I had no one. The students and everything. But when we actually moved to Warsaw, and sadly, I was alone. And the only way, probably that's why I love parties. I found it like my environment is to go out at night and just throw myself and just start approaching people. Like, hey, my name is Kamal. I am this guy from Morocco. And most of the people, of course, you will reject it and everything. But most of the people were super curious. They're like, Morocco, where the hell is that, And I found that fascinating because it allowed me, it's like they almost gave me this, the floor to tell stories. And I love stories. And I was like, you don't know Morocco? It's like, no, what is this, in Asia? I'm like, no. And then I'm like, well, let me tell you this story. So at that point, so every night I would go out because what happened is in the company we were working for, they fired us. They're like, you know what? We don't need this project anymore. You have to go back to your countries. I was like, there's no way I'm going back to my country. I have a visa for 6 months. I will stay 6 months. Plus, I couldn't change my flight because I took, remember, the cheapest option. And I was like, nah, man, I'm leaving after 6 months. So I had to find a solution. And that's why I launched the blog. And, but this, I remember these days with pride and joy, because every time I go out now, I just like remember like the differences. Like I was a nobody. Then when I go, contrary from now, when I go and you everyone basically, and everyone is like saying hi, and you're like, man, that was a long way.
Like that's what I said, because when you approached Poland, you felt welcomed. But earlier I said that Poland may not be the most welcoming country because, there's a contradiction in this, because at some point when we see a foreigner, we're like, we want to chit chat, we want to know him or her. But at some point when we watch, the news and we see migrants and we are like, oh my God, we don't want them here. So this is a huge contradiction in Poles, that we love to know new people, but then we are afraid of them. So how would you describe Poles? How would you describe Polish people?
I always say that Polish people are the most loyal, incredible, honest people I've ever met in my life. And I'm not saying this just to throw rose at you, because you would be surprised. The craziest friends or Polish friends I have are the scary looking ones.
Okay, and, the bold guys with this big muscles.
Yeah. These guys, they might be scary, but they often just need a little, I wouldn't say love, but information.
Okay.
Because when they see you at first, and they see this brown guy walking around,
that's what I said.
I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? But I think there is something in me, and that's very personal, because I believe in energy, and it's all about the energy. And when you have this outgoing energy, which is, I would say, layered with respect and honor, because when I came here, and my grandfather, may he rest in peace, which is my father figure, because my father was absent, he had some problems, and, with alcohol and everything, but my grandfather was the father figure for me, and he gave me this one advice. He said, when you go to Poland, respect the culture and respect the history and respect the people, and they will love you. They will adapt you, right? He gave me this bag that you see here. I mean, this is the advanced version, but the first prototype. And he said, I wish you luck. I know you're going to do amazing. The second advice he said, and that's advice I would give it to any immigrant who want to be successful in Poland. He says, do not try to mix up with any Moroccans or Arabs.
Okay.
He said, not in a racist way, he said, I want you to grow. I want you to discover a new culture. Just do not, I need you to feel uncomfortable for these first days, months, weeks, whatever. Just do not look. And I find this is the biggest mistakes immigrants or expats, they do, is they often come to a new country and they are looking for people from their home country so they can do the same shit again. I'm like, that's not how it works, man. You left your country because you want to grow, you want to create an opportunity, you want to create a life, you want to help. Because we all want to help our families at the end of the day. That's the ultimate goal. I believe so. And so these two, and he gave me the third advice, which was style. He said, people gonna judge you before you even open your mouth. And the way to fight that is you have to dress elegantly, and you have to dress nicely and talk elegantly and carry away yourself with grace.
Yeah.
And I took these 3 advices to heart, and I just applied them.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you stayed till the end, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. If you would like to learn more or discover more, you can click right here on this video to enjoy more authentic and honest stories. Thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you soon.